So once SolidWorks loads up for you there, you can come up to the top left-hand side here and we can see new. So if we click down on the little down arrow, select new, we can see it comes up part, assembly and drawing. So today we're going to focus on making a part. So if we just select that and hit OK, that will take us in to where we're going to create our 3D cabinet model. Once our part opens up for us here, first thing we're going to go ahead and do is save this in our files so we don't lose it. So if we come up to the top bar here, we can see the little save icon. We'll left click down the arrow and select save as. And we can go into whatever relevant folder you're saving these in, and we're going to save this as our name, Teaching and Learning Event 3, and 3D SolidWorks model. So go ahead and type in your name, underscore, Teaching and Learning Event 3 underscore and 3D SolidWorks model, and just hit save. Perfect. So we can make sure that's saved by just looking up here and we can see it has a name. So we're not going to lose what we have. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make the base of our inner cabinet. So we're going to come across the left hand side and select our top plane and hit on sketch. So this is like looking down on the top plane. So you can imagine you're all used to your orthographic drawings that you manually draw of your cabinets. So this is like looking down on the plan view of that. So looking down on the horizontal plane. So we're going to go ahead and select our corner rectangle because our base piece is a rectangle. And we can draw any size rectangle we want, and we're going to hit escape. So next, we're going to go over to our Smart Dimension tool, which we learned is for creating accurate measurements and dimensions that we want on our components. So we can left click on that and we can change this to what we need from our working drawing, which we can see is 1800 millimeters, and hit enter, or you can hit the green tick. That's perfect. So now we need to change our depth here, or the width of the panel. So we know from our cutting list and working drawing that that's 400. So we'll go ahead and get that typed in and hit enter. Perfect. So we can see now we have our base panel that's 800 millimeters, 1800 millimeters long and 400 millimeters deep. So this is still only currently a 2D shape. So we want to make this 3D like our actual material. So what we're going to go ahead and do is up to features and extrude boss base. So we all know that this is for adding thickness to our 2D drawings on our SolidWorks models. So we can see it's currently set to 10. We know our material is 18 millimeters thick, so we can type in 18. Perfect, and go ahead and click that. Perfect. So now we have our base piece, and we can see it's exactly like it would be in real life. So it's 18 millimeters thick, 1800 millimeters long, and 400 millimeters deep. So this is our base piece. So next we need to add our two sides and the two divider pieces. So instead of going over to top plane or front plane or right plane, this time we're going to actually sketch on this piece itself. So we can right click on the top there and hit sketch, and we can come across again to our corner rectangle, and we can zoom in onto the corner of the base, and we'll see a little orange dot will appear. That will let us know we're right on the corner. So if we left click on that and drag down, we can come down to the opposite side and you'll see it'll appear as an orange line. So we'll just click anywhere along that, left click, and then hit escape. So we have our side piece drawn in here, but currently we don't have thickness. So we need to make this 18 millimeters wide. So we all know if we come across to our Smart Dimension, click on the line, change that to 18 and hit enter. Perfect. So we have another side on the opposite side, so we can either repeat that process or we can do something a little bit quicker. So we come up here to our line, and we can hit center line, and anywhere on the left hand side, I want you to left click and drag across, and you can see a yellow line and a blue line appears. So we're going to bring the blue line down until it hits that yellow line, and that means that we're perfectly horizontal. and we come across until the opposite side turns to orange, so we know we're touching that, and left click. So we're going to go ahead and select the same line type again and come down onto this blue line that we just drew, and you can see a yellow center point. So we're going to come across until we touch that, and we can come straight up, and the same thing again, we'll bring the blue line up to the yellow line, and we can hit select. So what this means now is we've created this line here, which is perpendicular to the first line we created. So this is the center line between the two ends of our base panel. So we can come up to mirror entities, and we can zoom in on the side that we just created and right click on that, and that creates sections here in our entities to mirror, and we want to mirror that around the center line we just created. So we'll left click on that center line, and you can see in yellow here we have an exact copy of the side that we just created. So we'll go ahead and we'll green tick on that, and you can see that sketch is now copied over. So the next thing we can do, we want to add thickness to these sides. So we're going to go ahead and hit features, extrude boss base, and we're going to select both of our sides. So we'll zoom in using the scrolling wheel, and we want to turn off merge result. If we have merge result turned on, it'll morph our side pieces into our base, which we do not want. So once we have that done, we're going to change the length of these side pieces, which we know from our working drawing is 590 millimeters. So we can type that in, and we can hit green tick. Perfect. So there's the two sides of our cabinet and the base put in. So next thing we have is our center dividers. So we're going to repeat the same process again. We're going to right click on our base piece. We are going to hit normal to. So we'll bring us back to being looking down perpendicular to it. And we're going to hit sketch, corner rectangle, and we're going to select that top piece. So same process again, we can draw in our two inner panels. So we're not worried yet about the thickness of these. We'll just get them drawn in between the two edges of the base, and we'll hit our smart dimension tool and make these both 18 millimeters. And hit enter. And the same on the other one. Green tick. Perfect. So once we've that done, we can look at our rough drawing that we have, the sketch, and we can see that the distance between these panels is 576 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and use our smart dimension tool again. We can select the edge of the side piece, come across to the edge of our inner panel. We can see currently it's at 528, so we want that to be 576. Type it in, and we can hit the green tick. And we'll do the same with the other side. So repeat that process. And enter. Perfect. So we now know that the distance between our side panels and our inner panels is 576. Now our middle measurement should also be 576. And if you want to go ahead and check that, you can. So you can hit smart dimension again and check the distance between them. So we can guarantee that that is 576. Now, if we actually go ahead and click enter on this, we're going to come up with a problem. So it says make dimension driven. So the problem is we've over-defined this sketch. It means that we don't need all these measurements. So we can take away this middle one. So we can hit exit there, and that'll get rid of it because there isn't a need for it. So we can click escape, and we can extrude these two center panels the same way we did our sides. So go in, select them, left click, and extrude them to 590 millimeters, and just double check that the merge result is turned off. Perfect. So you can see now we have our sides, our base, and the inner components all together. So the last part we need to add a top to our cabinet. So we're going to zoom in onto one of our sides, right click, and click sketch onto that surface. So we can go ahead and use our corner rectangle, and this time we won't need smart dimension because we can actually use what we have so far to give us our measurements. So zoom into our corner, and we can drag across and come down to the other side and select enter. After that, we can extrude this to 18 millimeters. Make sure merge result is turned off and hit enter. Perfect. So you can see here we have the frame of the inner cabinet. So the last thing we need to do is we need to add a back onto our cabinet. So if we look at our drawn, our rough sketch, and our cutting list, we can see that's 6 millimeters thick. So go ahead and on the back, select sketch. And the same way we've done our top panel, use what we've done already. Give us our measurements. So we'll just go ahead and features and extrude boss base. And make sure merge results turned off, and we're going to make that 6 millimeters thick. Perfect. So if we hold down on our middle scroll wheel, we can move this model now around. So this is our inners of the cabinet. So now that we have the inner sections of our cabinet made, we're going to add our 6 legs onto the base. So what we're going to do is hold down on our middle scroll wheel, and we can manipulate the model so we can see the bottom. And we're going to right click and select sketch. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our corner rectangle, select on that, and inside the base, we're going to draw a rectangle of any size. This time, instead of hitting the green tick button straight away, we're going to hit for construction. This means that this rectangle we're creating won't be actually part of something. It's just for us helping us find where our legs are going to be. So once we've that done, we're going to go to Smart Dimension, and we can see the center of our legs are 60 millimeters away from all edges. So we can hit our rectangle we just drew, go to each edge, and change that to 60 millimeters. And we can do that right the way around. And last side. And we can hit the green tick. So we now know that this construction rectangle we just drew 60 millimeters away from all of our edges. So we can go up here to circle. You can see we have 2 options. We have normal circle and perimeter circle. We're just focusing today on a regular circle. So we're going to hit that and zoom in on each of our 4 corners and then our 2 middles. So draw the radius out of the circle any length you want, and we're going to change that to 20. Enter. And we're going to go around and do that in all 4 corners and then each of the centers. And we have our 2 final center ones as well. So just highlight onto the line and a yellow dot will appear, and you know that's the center point. And same underneath. And hit the green tick. So once we've that done, then we can go over to features. We can extrude our legs now. So we know from the parts list that they're 120 millimeters long. So extrude, and we'll go around and we'll select each of them. you know they're selected when they turn into kind of yellow color from the blue. So we're going to turn off merge result, make sure, and change our extruding distance to 120 millimeters and hit. So now we've added our 6 legs onto the base that's going to support our unit. So now that we have our legs attached, in this section we're going to looking at adding our blending gables and our filler pieces. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add our top blending piece. So we're going to right click on the top of our unit and hit sketch. And we're going to go to our corner rectangle once again and zoom in on the back left corner. So we see our orange dot and we can drag that out. This time, instead of going to the opposite corner, we're going to come out past it slightly. And we can hit escape. And what we're going to do now is we need to make sure that this front edge is 22 millimeters away from the front edge of the unit we have here. So we're going to go to Smart Dimension, select the front of the rectangle we just drew, and select the front of our unit. We can change that measurement to 22 millimeters. Hit enter. So what this is allowing is the overhang to allocate for our door. Now, we can see on the right hand side now, our rectangle we just drew is overextended past the edge of our unit. So we're going to use the new skill here. We're going to left click on our line. We're going to hold control. And while holding control, we're going to left click on the edge of the cabinet. Now you can see in the selected entities, we've edge and we've line 4. So that's our line here that we just drew, and we have the edge of the cabinet. So we're going to make these collinear. So you can see once we hit collinear that they come in and are exactly in line with each other. And we can hit the green tick on that. Now what we can do is go to features and we can extrude this, make sure we turn off merge result, and we can make this 22 millimeters thick. Hit enter. Perfect. So you can see now our top piece overhangs the front of the unit. So next what we're going to do is we're going to right click on our sides and we're going to add our 2 blending gables. So this is to hide the feet when looking at the side of the cabinet. So we're going to right click, hit sketch, and use our corner rectangle once again. Go from the corner and we'll come right down. Don't worry about getting it lined up because we're going to use our same method again of left clicking on the line, holding control, and left clicking on the edge. We want to make it collinear with. So this will make them in line again. And we can do the same thing again with the bottom. Left click, hold control, select our edge, and select collinear. Now what we can do is go to our features, extrude past base, make sure merge result is turned off, and also extrude this to 22 millimeters. So you can see now, if we were looking at the side of the cabinet, that our legs are now hidden. And we can do the same thing on the other side. Except this time, we don't need to select our edges, making them collinear. We can just select our corner rectangle and trace the opposite side. So you can see that's the exact same now. And use our extrude boss base once again. Perfect. So we now have our top blending panel and we have our 2 blending gables either side. So the next thing we need to add is our bottom filler piece. So the same way that we went and drew on the bottom for adding our legs, we'll hold down on our scroll wheel so we can manipulate the 3D model, and we can right click on the bottom and select sketch. Now what we can do is go to our corner rectangle, come across, and anywhere along the edge of the cabinet here, what I want you to do is go ahead and pull out a rectangle, come right up to the other corner. What you're going to do here is hit Smart Dimension, and we're going to dimension the width of this to be 50 millimeters. Okay, enter. We can now go ahead and extrude this 22 millimeters. Make sure we have merge result turned off. We can extrude that. So you can see now we've a recess created that our doors are going to nestle into. So the last thing we're going to do in this step, we're going to add our plinth. So that's to hide the legs from looking at the 3D model at the front. So same process again. Underneath the cabinet on the base piece, right click, sketch, and we can go ahead and use our corner rectangle, come to the edge of the blending gable, come across until we hit it on the other side. So we know from looking at our rough sketches and our materials list that the material for the plinth is 18 millimeters thick. So we can smart dimension that by selecting between the two lines. Currently it's at 24 roughly, so we'll change that to 18. Hit enter. And we also want to smart dimension front of the plinth 20 millimeters away from the front of the cabinet. We can hit enter on that as well. So now the last thing we do, we can go to features and we can extrude this down, except this time, instead of setting a measurement, we're going to turn off merge result. And here where you can see blind, we're going to click down that list and we have a couple of options. So we have through all, up to next, up to vertex, and up to surface. We're going to use up to surface. So what this will allow us to do is go ahead and select the very bottom of our feet because we want our plinth to go down to the floor. And that will make sure that our plinth goes to exactly that depth and no further. I'll hit enter. You can see now we've fully wrapped our cabinet to hide the whole internal cabinet and the feet. The next step that we have now is adding our doors and making our decorative cutouts that are going to be used as handles on the doors. So we know from our rough sketch that we have 3 doors. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to right click on the front of one of our side panels or internal panels and we're going to select sketch. We then go up to our corner rectangle tool and we can zoom in our model. We can draw a rectangle anywhere at all. Doesn't need to be specific. And we can hit enter. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to come up to our line. I'm going to select line and we're going to make sure this is for construction. After doing that, we're going to zoom in onto one of our internal dividers and we're going to find the center points. So it should appear as a yellow dot. There it is. And we can just bring up this line. So that line is now vertical. So using our smart dimension tool, we're going to zoom in and we know that we want a 3 mil gap all the way around each door to provide room for it to swing open. So from the edge to the inside edge of the blending gable, we can set that to 3 millimeters and hit enter. We can do the same thing at the bottom. Set that to 3 millimeters and the same thing at the top. Now, what we need to do for this side is something slightly different. Because we have a door in the middle, we set this dimension to 3 millimeters, it means we'd have too big of a gap in between. So here, from this edge of the door to the center line that we created, we're going to set that to 1.5. So when we add in our second door, we'll have an equal gap of 3 millimeters. Enter on that. Next thing we can do, we can go ahead, select our line tool again, and for construction, and we can find the center of the cabinet. So if we come up to the top line, we should be able to find it. Here's the yellow dot once again, and bring our line vertical. This time we can use the same skill again of mirror entities. We're going to select the door we created on the left, here there in light blue, and then we can mirror that about our center line, and that will make an exact copy on the right hand side. So we'll go ahead and tick that. Perfect. Now we need to make our final door in the middle, so we're going to hit corner rectangle again, zoom in. We slowly come up, we can see a blue line appear. We know we're at the same height as the other door. That will save us using our smart dimension tool. Measuring the top and the bottom, and we can drag down, and same thing again, wait until we see the blue line appear. There we go, and we can enter on that. Now all we need to use is smart dimension tool and make sure where the edge of the door is 1.5 millimeters away, giving us an equal 3 mil gap all around. And the same on the other side, except this time we can measure from the edge of the other door and just make that 3 millimeters. So you can see there, each door is in the center roughly of our dividers in the internal unit, and we have 3 mil gap all the way around each door. So the last thing we're going to do, we're going to go to features, extrude boss base, and this time our doors have already been selected, so we're going to make sure we turn off merge result, and we know from our material list that the doors are 22 millimeters thick, so we can tick that and we can see them appear there. The next step for us now is adding our handle cutouts to the doors. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to right click on any of the 3 doors, doesn't matter which, and we're going to hit sketch. So now we're looking perpendicular to our doors and we can draw out our handle shape ready for cutting out. So the first thing I want you to do, come up here and to your line tool, and I want you to hit the option for construction. This will just mean that it's only for guidance when we're drawing the shape, and it won't be cut out or extruded or anything like that. So first thing, I want you to find the center. It appears an orange dot off the top, and we come up vertical. If you're ever unsure if that line is vertical or horizontal, sometimes it won't automatically lock in. You can just right click on it, and you can see here you have 2 options to select, so horizontal or vertical. So we'll just hit the make vertical, and that just makes sure it definitely is that. Next step, I want you to find the center point of the door on the left hand side. So hit the line again for construction, and we're going to zoom in. We'll just get the edge of the door, might be hard to see, just zoom in nice and close. See, there we have it. Bring it up, you can see we're locking there vertical, and hit escape. So then after that, we're going to go to our corner rectangle tool, and we can simply come to that center point we found on the door on the left, and we just bring across the rectangle. Stop it anywhere about there. We're going to use our collinear tool again that we use, so we're going to select this edge here, hold control, and the line within the center of the unit. Hit that, and we'll make them collinear. Okay. Next step, we're going to smart dimension the height of our handle. So hit smart dimension, we'll come to our short edge. You can see it's over 70. We want that to be 50 according to our sketch. Hit enter. Next, after that, we can see on our sketch we have a curve in the middle on the side, and we know that is radius 25. So how are we going to do that? We're going to go up to our circle tool once again. We're going to select that, and anywhere at all inside where we have this rectangle, we're going to draw out, bring the radius out. It doesn't have to be exact. Let go. So we're going to make that radius 25. to match our initial sketch, and we can hit enter on that. Perfect. Now, we want these two edges to be tangential to our circle. So how are we going to do that? So the same way we found collinear with our lines and edges, we're going to left click on the circle, hold control, select an edge, and we can see we come up with tangent. So it automatically knows we want to make a tangent with the circle to this line. So we're going to hit that, hit enter. Tangent. And you can see now that that line is tangential to the edge of the circle. And we can do the same thing here. If we zoom in, we can see it isn't exact. So we're going to select the edge there, circle, select the line, and we're going to make that tangential as well. Okay, so next after that, we're going to go up to our trim entities. Now this is a new feature. So you should be able to remember from the Teaching and Learning Event 2, you should learn what the trim entity does. So we can select that, we can come in, we can get rid of the lines we don't need. So if you look, we want to keep this curve and we want to get rid of this outside corner. So you can see we can chop that away. Also, so we have a curve, we can get rid of this inside part. Draw that around. So you see now we're left with that radius 25mm curve. Perfect. So we can come along now as use our mirror entities and get the exact same thing on the right hand side. So come in, select that whole shape we just created. See it's there, entities to mirror, mirror about, and we'll select our center line that we created at the start. You can see that gives us the shape in yellow that we're looking for on the right hand side, and we'll hit OK on that. You can see now we have that full shape on both sides. After this, I want you to come in with the trim entity tool again, just get rid of that line in the middle. So these are one shape. They're not separate anymore now. So that's one whole shape we have. So next thing we can see, we know our handle cutout is 12mm deep. So we're going to features, and we're going to use a new tool here, extruded cut. So this allows us to cut through the doors. And it's already pre-picked up our handle cutout. You can see it's set currently to 22mm, but we want a 12. So change that. Okay. See now, cut out our handle cutouts on all of 3 doors, just how we want it, and just like in our initial sketch. So the next component that we're going to add onto our cabinet model is the worktop on top. So scroll in on the top, we can right click and sketch. See we're looking down perpendicular onto the top surface. We can go and use our corner rectangle and just anywhere at all, just draw out a rectangle just bigger than the current model underneath, and we can hit select on that. Now we want to use your smart dimension tool, and on each side and on the front we know we have an overhang of 25mm. So we type that in, and at the front and on the right hand side. So you can see there at the back we have 25mm overhang all around the front on 2 sides, but now at the back, so this unit's going to be pushed up against the wall, so we need this to be flush at the back with the back of the unit. So have we done this before? We can make them collinear, so we can left click, hold control, select the back edge of that unit. We can see we have the options collinear, perpendicular, and parallel and equal to. So we're going to go ahead and hit collinear and hit enter. You can see there it's nice and flush on the back, and we have the 25mm overhang the whole way around on the 3 other edges. And we know the thickness of our worktop is 25mm as well. So features, boss extrude. See there, it's already pre-selected. Turn off merge result, and we'll set that to 25mm. You can see that changes there. We can hit OK. And that's our worktop in place with our 25mm overhang, and it's completely flush at the back of the unit against the wall. The actual construction of our cabinet is now complete, but you can see it kind of looks like it's floating in the air at the minute. There's nothing really underneath it. So now we're going to add a floor just to make it look like it's sitting on something. So we know our bottom of our feet are sitting on the floor. So if we use our middle wheel, we can manipulate the model, and we can right click and sketch on the feet. So you can see we're looking underneath the model now. So we'll just go over to our corner rectangle tool and just a bit bigger than the model. Just bring in a rectangle, it doesn't need to be exact. We can click select. We won't bother smart dimension in this because it doesn't have to be an exact measurement. And we'll go and extrude our floor and make it 20mm thick. So extrude, select our floor that we just drew and turn off merge result, and we'll make that 20mm. And we can hit enter on that. See then now if we hold down the middle wheel on your mouse and move around, you can see at least now the model is sitting on the floor. We can see where everything is. See all of our feet sitting flush on the floor and our blending gables and plinth. So now the actual assembly and making of our 3D model is complete, we can start and go ahead and add some appearances and finishes to it. So the first thing there we have is our solid oak worktop according to our sketch. So if we zoom in on our worktop and we right click, you can see up the top, if we scroll across, we come across to appearances. So if we select that, left click, we have a couple of options. We have face, boss extrude, and body. So if we hit body and add an appearance to that, that will do our whole cabinet, which we don't want. We only want the worktop on top. So we'll just select boss extrude. See, this on the right hand side shows up. So this is for our appearances, scenes, decals. So right now we're only worried about our appearances. So you can see we scroll down, we have a couple of options for materials. We have plastic, metal, painted, rubber, glass, solid, lights, fabric, and organic. So we're actually going to go into the organic section. So if we click down on the arrow, and then we have wood. So we have a couple of options here, ash, beech. So we're looking for oak. And then we have a couple of options for oak. So we've polished, satin, unfinished, and then we have options for end grain. So we're going to go for the satin finished oak. So we'll just tap that once. You can see there that adds in our oak effect. You can, if you want, move around. By making it bigger or smaller with the grain. So you can determine this yourself, and then you can hit OK. So you can see there we have oak effect, but if we do look at our sides, you can see we don't actually have end grain. So if we want to make our model as realistic as we can, so what we can do is, same as we did in the top, we can right select, appearances, but instead of going boss extrude this time, we're going to go for the face. So it'll only do this face, it'll leave the rest of the oak top as it is. We can scroll down till we get to organic and wood. We can hit oak again. This time we can select the matching end grain finish. So last time we went for the satin oak, so we'll find the satin oak end grain. So there it's there. You select that. You can see you can also make that bigger or smaller to match what you had on the faces, and you can also move it around in case you want more of the center of tree or more of outer rings. I'm going to hit select on that. So that's one side done with end grain, but we also have the other side over here. So we want them to be exactly the same, since it's the same top. So we'll come across to do, we can right click the side we just done, and this time instead of going to appearances, we can copy that appearance, and we can go over to our other side, We can right click on it and we can paste that appearance. And you see we've a couple of different options, so we need to make sure we select the face only. You can see there the two ends are exactly the same, end grain, and then our face and edges as face grain. According to our sketch, we also have an oak effect in our handle cutouts, so we can zoom in on any one of the doors to where our handle cutout is, and we can right click, hit appearances. This time we're just going to hit cut extrude. And we can scroll down till we get to our oak, select that, and once again our satin finished oak. And we can tick OK for that. You can see now the cutouts we made have an oak inlay in them. Last thing we need to do now, we need to paint the body of our cabinet. So we can right click anywhere on the cabinet, go to appearances, and we'll just select Boss Extrude. And we can go to any color we want here. So you can have a flick through and pick whichever color you like best yourself. You can also change from standard colors to grayscales and to pastels. So have a go and change around whatever colors, whatever you think suits best. It's up to you. So then once you're happy with your color selection, you can just hit OK. And you can go ahead and copy that appearance, and you can apply that to all the other panels that need it. So you can paste, and we can hit onto Boss Extrude and go around to each component. Just make sure that you get each edge, so even your inner edge in here. And if you're unsure if you've gotten inside the cabinet, what you can do is you can right click on one of your doors. You can see this eye icon here, so you can hide it. You can have a look inside. So we haven't got inside yet, so we can right click, paste that to each of our components inside there. Now, to get that door to appear again, if we left click on one of our other doors, we can see that's Boss Extrude 13. So we can come across in our tree and we can right click, hide them, and show. So our door is back now. Last thing we want to add some detail to and appearance to is our floor. So in SolidWorks there is actually a floor material. So if we right click on the top of the floor and go to appearances and select face, we can scroll down to organic, and we see an option for flooring under wood. There's a few different options. Have a look through them and decide which one you think looks best. We're just going to go for this first one. So you can see the floorboards are running this way. We want them to go the other way. It's up to yourself. So what you can do is you can grab this middle green ball and you can swing around by holding on to the left clicker on your mouse. And you can align the flooring boards however you want. You can also, just like on the timber effects, make them bigger or smaller and move them around. So whatever you think looks best. After you're happy and it's in place, hit the green tick. So now it's time to add the lighting to our design. So if we scroll down, we have lighting underneath the plinth. We zoom in, go to right click on that edge, go to appearances, the same we did for the materials, select face. We'll scroll down our list on the right. We get lights, and we can select a couple of different types of lights. So we're going to go for an LED, and you can choose different colors. We're just going to go for simple white LED. And we can hit OK. can't see it at the minute, but when we do our renderings in activity 5, we will see this light shining then.